Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in this webinar. We are conducting our weekly webinar, and today I'm very excited to talk about a very interesting topic. Okay, and the topic is how to turn hidden website visitors into qualified leads. All right, so we are living in 2025, and there are leaps and bounds in terms of technology, especially for B2B sales, and this is one technology that has impacted a lot when it comes to B2B marketing and B2B sales, right? Everybody seems to be talking about it in the B2B sales arena. So I thought, why not, just go ahead and create a video around that, right? So today we're going to talk about the secret, B2B strategy within the dark funnel, right? I'm going to explain dark funnel as well. But the idea is to turn all the visitors as much as possible into qualified leads for your B2B sales. All right. So I'm very excited. With that, I'm going to jump straight into the topic itself. For all of you who are unaware of what I do, I'm going to explain what I do a little bit, but I'm a B2B marketer and I've been doing it for the last 18 years. And I create this weekly webinar every Thursday, 9 p.m. It is live and it'll be later published in YouTube as well. So please, join in every Thursday, 9 p.m. India time. All right. Now, with that, let me just talk about the problem which is there in B2B industry since forever. 98% of the website visitors never fills out a form, and that is especially true in enterprise sales, enterprise B2B sales. I think it is more than 98%, but in general, 98% of the people who visits your website, doesn't matter what is the source, whether it is ad, whether it is organic, whether it is social media, it doesn't really matter. 98% or more of the people, they will come to your website, they will check out things, and then they will leave. And some of them will never come back. So that's the hard reality, and most of the B2B companies, they have to live with it. The solution, many of the companies, they have very advanced analytics like Google GA4, Google Analytics 4, or Mixpanel, or there are so many other analytics tools. Those are there, but they will just show you traffic, right? They will just pretty much say, hey, you know what? There are 2,000 visitors who have visited on this stage. And that's pretty much it. That's the only data that most of the analytics tool will provide, right? At least for the unknown, visitors. So you'll not get any more context other than the, geography on which they are coming up or what is the number of visits that is happening. So that's very superficial. You cannot do much with that information. And the SDR, on the other hand, they will just go ahead and make a list of cold leads, and then they will start chasing those leads, sending emails, sending LinkedIn messages, and like so on. I mean, these are all the things which is there in B2B sales since forever, since last 30 years or so. Things have not changed much until now, where things are changing very, very fast. Okay. So, and also the marketing cannot really prove campaign ROI. So attribution is another major problem when it comes to B2B marketing and B2B growth. So the marketing is working, they're bringing traffic, but attribution becomes a little more complex. If you're running an e-commerce company, you can put up some UTMs and you run some ads, and the flow is pretty simple. And you can track most of it, and attribution works much easier. But in B2B, things are more complex, right? They might see your ad, they might see your social media post, and maybe for next 3 months, they will not do anything. And one fine day, they will just go ahead and, visit your website and fill up a form. So that throws the attribution off the window. So that's a real problem, for most of the B2B and enterprise companies. And this has been around since forever. And of course, there are more problems there, but I listed down top 4 common problems which exist in the industry, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, so now what is dark funnel? So dark funnel, in simple words, are there is a funnel in the dark. For example, there are people looking out for your services or products, and they don't know about you, and you are looking for those people, but you both are in dark, right? Many a times There are people who are putting their intent, putting the signals out there in the dark, out there, but you're not able to capture it. And that's the whole point of dark funding. For example, if somebody visits your website and leaves the website. So for you, it's one user, right, in your analytics tool, but that's pretty much it. It's just a number for you. You don't know about that person, and there's very little ways by which you can decipher who that person is, and whether you want to reach out to that person. Of course, you can run, you can set up a Google tag or a LinkedIn tag or a Facebook pixel and run a retargeting ads. You can do a few things, and those are there, but there are so many intent and signals which are out there in the dark, right? There are people looking for you or your services that you are providing, and they are sending out signals, but you're just not aware of it, and they are not aware of you, and that's why we call it the dark fund, right? So the point here is most of the buyer's journey happens anonymously. Your buyer is looking for things, and the buyer is very well researched nowadays. That means they do research, they find out everything, they are visiting your site, they are visiting your social media, they are doing their own research around you and your product and services, but you may not be even aware of it, right? Intent signals are hidden in web behavior, right? So they are coming, some of them they are checking out your demo page, some of them they are checking out your pricing page, and like so on. Some of them they are just checking out your case studies and blogs. So everybody comes with different intent, right? Some of them they check out your website and social media to learn. Some of them they check out your social media and website to buy. The intent are different, the signals are different, you are just not aware of it, right? And even if you are aware of it, there's not much you can do with just analytics data. And traditional CRMs and Google Analytics, which includes other analytics too, like Mixpanel Analysis, nothing against them, but they miss those crucial intent data. So they do provide the data, but that data is not usable enough, to take immediate action. That's the problem many of the companies they have been always facing. Okay, but now we are living in an era where we can do something about it today. All right. Now the big opportunity. Here's the big opportunity. What if I tell you that you can now identify the companies or the people visiting your site without them filling up the form? So many of the people, traditional salespeople and all, for them, sales means somebody visits a site or a landing page, they fill up a form, contact us form or whatever, and only if they fill up the form, they get the data. The data comes into a CRM or any other tool that you're using, and then the sales rep, they start following up and chasing those leads, right? That has been the case since forever. But now that is changing, and then there is a big opportunity now that has started coming up, right? So the opportunity here is, what if you can identify those companies and people visiting your site without them filling up the form? Okay. What if you can reveal the account level web traffic? That means for all the web traffic that is coming up, you will be able to decipher and reveal the account or the companies most of the time. And prioritize high intent visitors. For example, there are some visitors who, as I said, has come to learn. Some visitors, they are just doing browsing, but some visitors, they are coming in to buy something, right? So there are different intent and different value assigned to those visitors. What if you have now the technology to prioritize those high intent visitors, and then create an outreach which is more personalized and with context? And we are going to talk about some case studies around that as well. So stay tuned. All right. Okay. Wonderful. So I want to take a little step back and, before I go deep into tech, I'm going to talk a little bit about the overall usage of the technology itself, right? Okay, now this technology is called the reverse IP matching technology. Okay, and I'm going to explain how it works in a very simple language. Okay, I have the long explanation as well. I thought of giving out the long explanation, then I realized, what, I'm not going to bore people with the long explanation. If some of you want a detailed analysis, maybe I can create another video. If you are on YouTube right now, just put up a comment that you need a longer explanation, and I'm going to certainly go ahead and create a longer explanation as well. Okay, but I'm going to give you a snapshot of how the technology works. Now, before I explain you how the technology works, let me explain what the technology is all about. The technology is that there are visitors coming to your website or app. They are visiting, okay, and out of those pool of visitors, you have something in place by which you are able to trace or identify 50 to 60 or sometimes even 70% of the visitors back to the companies that they're coming from. Now that's cool, right? Which means if the visitor is coming from their company domain, there's a good chance that you'll be able to identify the company that they're coming from. Having said that, not all visitors are going to come from their company domain. Some of them, they might be using the personal network, personal domain and like so on. So obviously you cannot identify it. So that's the reason I said you'll be able to identify 50%, 60%, or even 70% of the time. You'll be able to identify those companies and account. Now the question is, why is this important? If you are a small business, who's dealing with B2C customers, possibly this technology is not much help for you. You can just practically, if you are a brick and mortar company and selling it to B2C customer, then you can just put up a LinkedIn tag, Google tag, and a Facebook pixel. You can retarget all the visitors that are coming up. I think that should suffice your need. But when you are a big B2B tech company or a big B2B enterprise company, then every visitor matters, correct? If you're selling a $1 million product or service, and you're serving a very niche industry and an audience, then every person who is coming up and interacting with your website matters, because the traffic is generally low. It's not like there are millions of people coming into your website, and generally it takes a huge amount of effort to bring those people on your website in the first place. For example, you're running, high value LinkedIn ads and Google ads, and you're paying a lot of money to LinkedIn and Google to bring those people to your website, and they are coming up, and less than 2% of them are actually filling up the form. So 98% of the traffic is gone, and with that, your money is also gone, right? Because you paid money to these large companies like Google and LinkedIn and Facebook and others to bring those people on the first place, but they are gone, right? And you have to rework and run the ad again, spend money again to bring those people back. So there's a huge wastage there. So even if you're able to identify some level of information of those visitors and then work on that later on, that means you save money on your Google ads and LinkedIn ads and Twitter ads and like so, right? Okay, so now that I explained you what it is, let me explain how it works in very simple language. Okay, so the way it works is like this. This is called the reverse IP matching technology. That means if a visitor is coming and visiting your site, that visitor will have an IP, right? Okay, so what you do is you take this platform or these tools, and there are many companies providing this particular service. I'm going to come to that a little later on. You take a tracking code and you put it into your website. Okay, and you can even push this tracking code through GTM or other tag managers if you wish to, or you can directly put those tracking code in your website or in your app. And then what this will do is it will start tracking the IP. And once it receives the IP of the visitors, then it will do a reverse DNS lookup. So it will go to the DNS and it will do a reverse lookup to find out the domain of that particular associated with that particular IP. If it matches, for example, if it matches a company DNS record, that means you are successfully able to trace the IP with the company, and then you can take that data from the DNS record, so you get the company name, and then you enrich the data, right? Then you hit some other data providers, some third-party data providers based on the company name and the IP. You hit that, And then you find more firmographic enrichment. For example, company URL and company website address, the company location, the employee size, the employee number. I mean, you know the point I'm trying to make, right? So you enrich this with firmographic data. Okay, so you have this now a pool of information about that particular visitor on the company level. And then you do what we call as the behavioral scoring. For example, this visitor checked out your homepage, checked out your pricing page, and checked out your demo page. So I give more scores, right? More points. If somebody just checked out your blogs, I'll give them less points. So with that, I add all this information in real time and I pass those information to you in real time. Now imagine, now you have power because now you have information that is really useful. Okay, which company, who this person is, I mean, who this person is in the company you cannot identify, but then which company this person is coming from, you're able to identify. You are able to identify much more information about the company. And you are also now aware of what they are doing in your website. Now, with that information, now you can create a more targeted ads and more targeted outreach in terms of email and LinkedIn. So I'm going to talk about a little bit more. Maybe another webinar is required for that, but I think you got the point here, right? Okay, so that's how it works in the crux, in short. Okay, there's a long explanation. I've created a white paper around that. I'm going to release the white paper. Just look out for them. Maybe I'll put the link in the comment section in the LinkedIn or in YouTube description as well. So just look out for that. Okay. Perfect. So what can you learn about a visitor? A lot of stuff: company name, company size, revenue, industry, pages views, duration, frequency, how many times they are coming up, what are they checking up, buyer signals like pricing page viewed 3 times, stuff like this. So that's a good amount of information, and that's good information, especially if every visitor is important for you. Okay, so tools that power that. There are a lot of tools out there. Some of my favorites are Factors, Clearbit. Clearbit has been taken over by HubSpot, and I think they're not giving their API access anymore. I'm not sure about that. Leadfeeder, Albacross, 6 Sense. There are multiple tools out there. These are some of my favorites. If you want to check out others, you can check out others as well. I'm going to give you some examples as well. All right, I'm going to go share real data with you in a few minutes. I'm going to show you that as well. Okay. Now, before I get into the use cases, let me just give you a little snapshot of this. So HubSpot is also one of the data provider when it comes to web visitor identification. They have what we call as the buyer intent. This is my own HubSpot account, so that's why I'm showing that this is pretty much our account. We don't have what they call as the breeze intelligence. This is only given to the enterprise customer. We are not enterprise customer, but if you're an enterprise customer, possibly you will have the breeze intelligence as well. This is pretty new. They have just launched breeze intelligence maybe a few months back, so still under build up. But I'll just give you a quick snapshot of this technology in HubSpot, right? Okay, so it's pretty simple. They call it the buyer intent. That means the buyer has an intent, and you can uncover in-market companies visiting your site. For example, you can set in HubSpot that I only want this industry people. If they are visiting my site, only then capture them. You can set that up. Or you can just discover everybody who's showing intent. For example, capture everybody, but and drill down more, right? So you can go ahead and set up the intent, right? So all you have to do is, I'm just going to just show you in terms of set up the intent. This is a pretty new account, so I have not set up the intent here. I'm going to show you another tool, Factors, where we have set up the intent. Okay, it's because we're using that tool more than this one to capture our web visitors. But this is pretty simple configuration. Okay, if you know what you're doing, then you can go ahead and set up this very easily. Okay, there are some basic setup that is already there in our case. So as you can see, I can now see for last 90 days or last 30 days. So there are basic setup that have been done, and I can see, all these companies who are visiting my website and how many times they are visiting, right? Okay, so if I go to this company, then I exactly know what pages that they have visited and what actions they have taken and how many times they have visited my page. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, it's a lot of information, and now I know this company and I know their website as well. So there's a lot I can do, right? And it's real time. So this is for last 30 days, and last 14 days, and so these are very what do you say, intent driven, rich data, and it is a timely data. Okay. So it's up to you to what to do with this data. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, what you can do, but you got the point here. Okay. Now this is with respect to HubSpot. HubSpot is, of course, you have to take a HubSpot package. This business intelligence comes under enterprise one. You can have this buyer intent under Sales Hub Professional or Marketing Hub Professional. You will get this as well. I like HubSpot, and if you are in the HubSpot environment, if you want to use it, go ahead and use it. But in my case, I've been primarily using Factors. This is a tool that I'm using in our case. Now, full disclosure, I have no affiliation with Factors, nothing. I'm not going to put any affiliate link in the description. Okay, so it's just because I'm using these tools, I'm showing you this for my own purpose. And that's the only reason I'm showing you this, right? So in my case, I'm using Factors fully to identify the companies that are coming up in my website. Okay, so as you can see, I have set up the factors here, and I'm getting all the companies which is visiting my site. So there's a bunch of companies who is visiting my site, and I get all the firmographic data I spoke about, of these companies who is visiting my site. Okay, and if I click on each of the company, I will get more information about it as well. I want to, show it publicly, all the information of this company, but this is all the data which I'm showing you is anyway publicly available. So it's nothing like I'm showing any private data or something. All this information is publicly available in LinkedIn and other places. And so whatever has been sourced is publicly available data, right? Okay. But the idea is that you know that these companies are visiting and what they are doing, right? You can go ahead and create your segments as well. For example, I want to create segment of all the visitors that have come from Google Ads or LinkedIn Ads. I can create a segment. Or I can create a segment of all the visitors who have visited my pricing page. So a tool like Factors and Leadfeeder and others, will give you this option to create multiple different segments. Okay, so this is one segment that we have created, and then there is another segment, and then this will, just go on. So we are just creating this particular segment, but you can create as many segments as you want, right? There's no limit. I mean, of course, there's a limit to number of segments, but you can create as many as you want depending on the plan and the pricing. Okay. So once you have this information, you can also go ahead and create reports. Okay. So you can create as many reports as you want. And as you can see, we have created a sample report to show in which, I'm just checking for last 1 week or so. What are the top companies who have visited my site? And, there's a lot of information, right? So, and then I also, created a report based on accounts by industry, the company by industry, the revenue range. So there are 7 companies who has visited my site, which are $10 billion plus. It's good, right? Okay, so I can now then go ahead and find those 7 companies, and I can start doing ABM, account-based marketing. I can do that. Okay, so account details and website metrics. Okay, so I mean this will go on, right? Okay, so I can also set up high intent account. That means somebody who has, I can set up these criteria. I still have to work on this, but I can set up all these criteria. All right. Okay, perfect. So this is a quick overview of what these tools look like. This webinar is not about me explaining this tool in detail. Maybe in the coming days, I'm going to, explain these tools in detail, so I can do that as well. I'm going to just stop my screen. I'll take a little break here. And if anybody has any question, just go ahead and ask me. Okay, while I open a few things, and I'm going to show you some case studies as well. All right. So just drop the questions in the question section. All right. And I'll be happy to answer. Maybe I will not have answer right away. By the end of the session, I'll be very happy to go ahead and answer that. Okay. All right. So, okay. Now coming back to, let me just go ahead and share my screen again. Yeah. Okay. So I want to start about use case. I have created 4 to 5 use cases, and I'm going to quickly go ahead and talk about those use cases. I'm going to also show a mind map, okay, which will basically help you understand the use case a little bit more. For example, suppose you are running social ads like LinkedIn ads and Twitter ads and PPC ads and display ads, and you're doing SEO, and so you're spending a lot of money. You're doing cold outreach, and you know you're doing inbound marketing, and so the point is that you're spending a lot of money to bring all the visitors to your site, right? So you have this lead gen engine in place, correct? So what website visitor is basically, it's part of a dark funnel, what we call as the intent and signals. So after you spend a lot of effort in bringing those leads, most of the leads are either checking your social media or website or app, right? So they might be, and majority of them, they will check your website. Your website is your number one asset, right? So they will come and check your website, right? Okay, and you put up a reverse IP tracking, right? This technology you're going to put up, and then it will start identifying those visitors in your website. As I said, around 50% of the time, 60% of the time, it will be able to identify. There are other signals as well, which I'm not going to cover in this particular webinar. In other webinars, I want to cover all this particular signal. This webinar is all about website visit as a signal, right? So the moment they website a visit, they do a website visit, you create if they fall under certain segment, if they qualify certain criteria, if their score is high, okay, you immediately integrate those leads to integrate. For example, this lead has checked 17 times, and also they have 2 unique visitors. Maybe they also belong to certain geography, which is the ideal geography for me. Maybe they also checked out my pricing page, So there is a bunch of condition. I can put up those condition, and I can create a segment around that particular condition, and immediately, create a workflow, an automation to send that particular company lead into my CRM, Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever CRM that you're using, or even your automation tool, okay, or your outbound tool like Reply and Outreach and like so. So you push that, okay? You push. So now you have the company detail and also the firmographic detail about the company and also the behavioral data, what they were doing on your website. Okay. Now, the moment that data comes into your CRM or any other platform, your sales rep can then go ahead and start processing that, right? Enriching that information, finding the decision makers, start doing outbound campaign to the decision makers within the company. Your marketing team can go ahead and add those companies into LinkedIn ads using customer match data. There's a lot that can be done. And as I said, it's another topic altogether of what to do with that data. In this webinar, I'm going to talk about how you can get that data, how you can pass that data. Possibly I'll create another webinar where I'm going to talk in detail what you can do with that particular data. All right. So moment this information goes back into your funnel in your system, then you can go ahead and do a personalized outreach. Okay? That means you can find out more about that particular account. You can do lead enrichment. Okay, you can even find the decision makers using Clay or Apollo or Clearbit or whatever lead enrichment data provider you have. Uh, then you can do process automation. That means you can even automate the process if you don't want to do manually. Okay, using something like a Make or Anytime or Bardeen, whatever you are comfortable with. And then you can run a very personalized outreach, email, or LinkedIn message, or even cold calling, right? So, for example, they checked out your pricing page, they belong to your ICP, they belong to your geography, they are more than $10 million size company. Now, with that information, you can create more personalization in your email, and it is more contextual, more relevant because they just checked out your website. So they are not fully cold lead. They are what we call as the warm lead, right? Because they are aware of you, and now you are also aware of them. It is so much better than just sourcing a lead, buying a list of data, and then just blasting an email to all of them, right? Without any context, nothing, and just hoping for the best. It's so much better. Yeah, it is more pinpointed, more targeted, and more contextual, right? So you can do an outreach, and you can also run hyper-personalized retargeting ads, using customer match data, LinkedIn ads. That means you only run ads on LinkedIn to the people working for this company. That's great, right? So if your target, if you have a target audience of 100 companies and they have all visited your site, okay, then you only target the people working for that 100 companies. That's good, right? Rather than running ads for the entire world and spending a lot of money, you basically target them, uh, pinpoint, and then you come in front of them at the right time. Okay, so they just saw your website, they checked out your service, they checked out your pricing page, and they suddenly see an ad saying that, hey, you know what, we are giving a little discount in our service. Not bad, right? Okay, and that too using ad. And you can also run LinkedIn outreach and email outreach with the same offer. Okay, so this is the very short overview of what you can do. I mean, there's a lot you can do, and I'm going to come up with upcoming webinars on that as well. So now, with that said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the real world use cases. Okay, so I've built some of the use cases. So I'll just go through that one by one, and the use cases are plenty. This is just top 4 or 5 use cases that I'm going to talk about in this particular session. But trust me, the use cases are plenty around that, and I get to know something new every single day working with different clients. Okay, use case number one, for example, building a high intent account list from website traffic. Very obvious use case. That means you build a high intent account list the way I have created, just like this. Okay, but they have high intent. For example, they are checking my pricing page or demo page, and they are checking my case studies. And so I have to put up the criteria, filter it, and create a segment around it, right? And put scoring. So once they meet certain criteria, once they cross certain score, for example, if they cross 50 points based on 5 different criteria, then they become high intent. Now, what those criteria is, what the point is, it's totally up to you to decide. And of course, people like us, we are running a GTM agency and account-based marketing agency. So we have a lot of experience around that. Obviously, if you're going to hire somebody like us, we can help you out with that. But if you want to do it yourself, all you have to do is just write down your criteria and trigger and the conditions and the points, and then come down to a number where if it crosses certain thing, then you take a certain action. That's how it is. Okay, in long story short. So you build a high intent account list from website traffic. So not all traffic are equal. As I said, not all traffic are viable. Not all traffic are there to buy from you. So you have to define. If somebody is just visiting the blog site, then possibly they are just there to learn. You better not to bother them, right? Okay, stuff like those. So SDRs often rely on cold list scrape data with low buying intent. Solution is use web visitor identification to detect which companies are already showing interest by visiting your site. Prioritize those viewing pricing page, product pages, or stayed more than 2 minutes. That's one example. Okay. Now this condition is totally up to you. You have to define this condition, and what I would suggest is start with something simple. For example, if they create a segment for all the people who are starting visiting your pricing page, start with that segment. and then keep adding more and more segments on top of it. Okay. Rome was not built in a day, and you are not going to build the entire ABM in a day as well. Better to take one step at a time and just keep adding stuff on top of it. Right. So identify accounts with multiple visits or repeat session. I have already shown you that multiple visits and repeat sessions. As you can see, how many visits? 16 page views and 7 page views and 3 unique visitors and stuff like this. So all the data is already there. The firmographic and the behavioral data is there in most of these tools. Will provide you that, and you can take a decision around that. Okay, and tag them as warm accounts. Push them to SDR. You can push it to CRM. You can push it to Slack. You can push it to an Excel sheet, depending on what you're using, and then your SDR can create a workflow or do a manual follow up. Okay. This is going to be hotter than any typical cold list. Okay. Use case number 2, hyper-personalized email outreach. Okay, so generic outreach, as you know, take a list of 10,000 people, send an email blast. Less than 2% click-through rate and less than 10% open rate. We all know that stuff, right? But here, when you want to do a personalized email outreach, you will have the page level behavior information. That means you will know exactly what they have done on your website and what they are doing. Okay. For example, if somebody from some certain company visit your AI onboarding page, that means you can mention that exact keyword in your email. Okay. You can do this level of personalization with new age outreach tool as well, automatically automated. And if you don't do it, you can just do it manually. That's up to you. Okay. But it can be automated as well with new automation tools available. That means which page they, and if they have visited a page for AI app development, then you can automatically include that particular keyword in the email and stuff like those. So you can do that. Now the email becomes much more personalized and contextual. Okay. So identify the company and page visited, score the intent, pull the ICP matching contacts from LinkedIn. So once you identify the company and once they cross a certain score, then go, hit the LinkedIn, pull the decision makers working in that particular company, and create a custom email like this. Very simple. Okay, you don't have to use this, especially if you're under GDPR. If you're in Europe, please do not use this particular template. It's just for reference purpose, because under the GDPR, you cannot just randomly send people email. But there are other ways of handling that. Possibly I'll create another webinar to talk about that. But if you're outside of Europe, then practically, it's a very simple template I've given you. Templates are available, and we can talk more on this. Okay. So the reply and the conversion rate will be higher because of the contextual relevance. Okay. Use case number 3, account-based retargeting ads. Very important. Generic ads based budget. Okay. Just running ads on LinkedIn random, based on industry or this means you're spending a lot of money without, basically you're doing spray and pray, right? Spraying a lot of audience and then you're praying some of them will go ahead and convert. But here in this case, what you're going to do is you can serve a dynamic LinkedIn ads or Google ads only to the identified company who visited the key pages, not to all the company. If you're going to put, say, a Facebook pixel or a Google tag or a LinkedIn tag, depending on the condition, you basically you can basically filter people based on the website visit or not. You can do that, okay, to a certain extent, right? But nothing more than that. It's very top level. But with this kind of technology, what you can do is you can identify the company, make a list of the company, make a segment, and then push the company to a account match, LinkedIn account match data. Right? That means you tell LinkedIn only people working for these companies, these 20 companies, run this ad. It's like having shotgun. Retargeting ads like shotgun, you spray a bullets, but this is more like a sniper rifle. Right? You only target exactly the companies and the people within those companies with your ads. Much more precise. Okay. And also contextual. They visited the pricing page, they never bought. you send an ad saying that you're getting a discount. Stuff like those. So segment visitors by behavior and ICP match, sync to a custom ad audience, right? And show ready to buy competitor comparison ad tailored by funnel stage. So yeah, I mean, you can run also competitor comparison page. So they checked out your pricing page. Maybe you can show an ad showing a competitor comparison page that hey, your product and service is much cheaper than the competitor. Why not? Okay, so reduce CSE, improve ad relevance, and tighter targeting. That's what you're going to do. Use case number 4, and I'm going very fast on this. Maybe each use case can be another webinar altogether. I'll try to create some more videos around that as well. But quick, couple of more use cases I'll go through. Reps miss timely follow up when account revisit the site. So, if, for example, there was an account, you create a deal, everything was going good, and then the deal became cold, right? And nothing much happened. Maybe but after 3 months, somebody from that account again visited the site and checking out something. So that means it's a signal, right? It was, the deal was cold, but now suddenly it has become warm, possibly warm again. So maybe you can just give a little nudge saying that, hey, you know what? When we talk again, we have come up with a new offer, new solution, new discount, whatever. Correct? So set an instant Slack CRM alert to reps when account revisits high intent pages. Okay, so match the IP company CRM record. So you can even do the mapping with the CRM record itself. Okay, trigger the Slack alert. Maybe you can create a specialized Slack alert saying that, hey, you know what? This existing account in the CRM has revisited your website and it is checking the pricing page. Pretty cool information, right? And then the rep can just go ahead and send out a very tailored message right on time. So it's a very relevant message. Okay. So real-time engagement while the interest is hot. And that's the whole point. And another use case, marketing attribution plus funnel optimization. So attribution is very important. As I said, we are running so many different campaigns, especially for B2B enterprise. You don't know which one is working, which one is not. Whether Google Ads is working, LinkedIn Ads is working, SEO is working. There's a lot of channels there, right? Okay, this kind of tool also helps with that. Okay, identify which campaigns and content attract qualified companies, even if they never come, right? I mean, this is very in-depth. Possibly I'll create another video on that. But you can create something like a UTM visitor match and analyze the account firmographic. Attribute high quality traffic to specific sources. You can do the attribution and create a segment and double down on what's driving the pipeline ready visits. I know it's a lot of information I've just passed you, but this is a very, very cool use case. This is a little advanced use case. Once you get out of the basics, possibly you can start trying these things out. And we are already trying these things with our customer. And we have so many more case studies. I'm going to just stop here. For the time being, I'll just go one more bonus use case. Something like a Factors, HubSpot, Apollo, LinkedIn, all working together. So use Factors or HubSpot to identify the companies, viewing the ROI or case study pages, and this with the decision makers using Apollo or LinkedIn. Prioritize these for outbounds for your cadence tool, smart lead outreach, and add custom fields like visited case study X to personalize your message. Correct? So they have visited the case study, and then you are reaching out saying that, hey, you know what? Your people from your company are visiting our case study. Here's some more case studies that I can give it to you. Stuff like those. Okay, I've already talked about the best tools for website visitor identification. I've made a bunch of list of them. Possibly I'll share this. As I said, I'm still working on this particular white paper. Once I'm done with it, I'm going to release this white paper absolutely for free. It takes a lot of time to build this kind of stuff. And more than time, it takes a lot of experience to come up with this kind of stuff. So if you're interested, if you're on LinkedIn right now or YouTube, just put up a comment, please, that you want this particular white paper. And, I'm going to just release that particular white paper and I'll give the link of this white paper. Okay. All right. Now, let me go back to where I was. I covered the use cases super fast. Okay. And now I'm just going to talk about quickly the implementation playbook. So the first thing is you need to define what your ICP is, right? Why you want to do that. If you are in a B2B enterprise space, technology like this, what tool you use? Some tools are better than others. Okay, there are the known ones, Leadfeeder, Factors, HubSpot, Clearbit, Sixth Sense. These are the bigger providers, but there are other providers as well. More than a tool, I think what depends on your what matters more is your strategy. So I think it's very important to work on the strategy, and that starts with ICP. What is your target audience? Who do you want to? What are the accounts you want to target? And what kind of accounts you want to target, and like so on. Also, the integration with CRM is very important so that your sales rep can work with this data in real time. Okay, so if you are not using CRM, please start using CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot or something that can be integrated with these kind of tools. Scoring segment traffic, you got to build that. It takes a little bit of time. You can take help from people like us, uh, but that needs to be built. And then the route to sales and ad fluff. So the data needs to go to the sales team and also the marketing team, ad team in real time. Okay, and then you've got to review and refine this on a weekly basis. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Just start with some tool, which I gave you already some examples here. If you want a deep dive on each of these tools, that's another webinar altogether. But just check out these tools, connect the CRM and sales workflow, track the top of the page and intent signals, and pilot with 10 target account. That is what you should be doing for the first 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, just do that, and then once you are good with the basics, take the next step. Okay, if you want to ask us anything, go ahead and ask in the comment box. I'll try to answer as much as possible. This is me. I'm really sorry that this whole thing got stressed out. I did a little bit. I'm not a designer, and my design was not available. I'm sorry for that. So I did it myself. But apart from that, you can find me. If you don't know me, my name is Ritesh Osta, and I'm one of the top rated Fiverr Pro in the category of B2B marketing, account-based marketing, GTM engineering, AI agents. I develop AI agents and AI automations, and I run ads, performance marketing. So I've been doing this for the last 18 years now, and I'm one of the top rated Fiverr Pro freelancer for B2B, and I have a company called Insightstap. And for more than 10 years, we have been helping enterprise and IT companies with growth marketing and account-based marketing. I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining in. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask me the question. If you have any friends, I see there are a few visitors there. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.